What's up everyone, Beast Mode back here with another video. So today we're going to discuss the deck here that I top 8'd the IRL RBET this past weekend. Also want to do a quick tournament recap and just discuss my experience at the tournament. So first thing I want to say is shout out to the judging staff, Lee Park, the store. It was an awesome experience. It was probably the best run tournament I've ever been to. The pairings were posted so quickly. The round just flew right into the next round. Lee Park pretty much took care of everything. He was taking pictures of everybody, getting everything posted online. It really was trying to get coverage out for people that weren't there. It was awesome. I also want to shout out Keegan, of course, from E3 YouTube channel. I finally got to meet him in person later Sunday night, but he really put on a great event for everybody and really made this happen, and I got to kind of relive my late teen years by flying out to an event and just having a great time. Also, I want to say that every person I met there was just super cool. There was not anybody that I didn't want to have a conversation with, essentially. It was cool meeting players online that you see post every single day and then see them in person and have a conversation with them in person. And it's crazy how different people can be. I would say I had a great time. I met Rognok, Cameron in person. I met JG, my buddy, on the streams for the first time in person. We, got a hotel and rent a car and did the whole trip together. I flew out with my buddy D2. So I know I met a bunch of people. Wolf. If I don't shout out your name specifically, I'm just trying to go off the top of my head. I mean, no disrespect. But, of course, Murray, I was signing cards for players. I had everybody that I could sign cards for me just because, that's kind of how it was. It was just... We met in person. We know everybody's Discord handle, and everyone was just kind of signing cards and having a good time. So this here is the deck that I got top 8 with. I was in 4th place after Swiss, and then I ended up losing my top 8 match, which is pretty much how I roll. I don't know. I think this now is my 5th RBET top, including rulers, out of 7 RBETs I played. So I topped quite a few of these events. I enjoy them a lot. The best I've gotten is 2nd place. I have not been able to win one yet. So I will say I was on stream round 3 on E3's YouTube channel. There you can check out the live VOD of the video of the tournament rather. And that was probably the worst played match I had the whole day. I'm not entirely sure what I was thinking at the time. I did go into time and lost anyway, but I probably had no business even winning a game at all. But to recap my tournament experience really quickly, round 1 I played against Gladiator Beast, which of course is my worst matchup. Can be anybody's worst matchup. It's just one of those decks that can either beat you or they just kind of fall on their face. I do remember game 1 I had to play through double War Chariot. I ended up landing a Dark Arm and tried to win with a return, which was trap stunned. I do remember that very clearly, but I was able to get the win there. Game 2, I think I set a Dust Tornado and a Starlight Road, and I walk into a Cold Wave and, Geysers and all that, and I lose. And then game 3, I think GBs just kind of do what they do sometimes and don't draw a monster, and I literally just won with Mizuki Zombie Master Beatdown. So that was round 1. He was an awesome player, though. Had a good time talking with him throughout the weekend. Round 2, I played against the Disaster Dragon. I've heard that he was the only Disaster Dragon at the tournament, the only Disaster Dragon player at the tournament. Game 1, he actually I don't know. I think I bottomless. I triple D-prisoned. I pretty much used every bit of defense, and he still was able to land a Red Eyes Metal Dragon. And once that happens, he comboed off. But I noticed one thing game 1, that he kept setting all of his recruiters. All of the Mash Dragons, everything was just being set. So I did side in the Nobleman. So game 2, I hit him with a turn 1 Nobleman, and I could see that he wasn't happy about it. I ended up running away with that game. And game 3, I kind of had to make the decision, was he going to play into the Nobleman or not? So I actually sided them out because I figured that just wouldn't do it. And I put in the Dust Tornadoes and the Compulsory, and he ended up dropping a Light and Darkness Dragon on me, and I was able to do the chain with a Dust Tornado into a Compulse and bounce it back to his hand. So and the reason why that was so devastating was that he had to hard summon that over 2 monsters. So I was able to run away with the game at that point, but difficult deck to beat. The only reason why I probably won game 2 is because of the fact that I was just really paying attention to the game 1 where he just kept setting monster after monster. So Nobleman is typically not good against that deck at all, but just because of the way that he was playing, I capitalized on it. So That was round 2. Round 3 was my featured match against Daniel, who ended up getting second place of the whole event. So obviously, great player. He opened up like Whirlwind, like all 3 games pretty much, which that deck can do. Game 1, I actually had OTK with the Brio play. If the back row is anything but Solemn, it can be bottomless. It doesn't matter there. I just need to be able to pitch the cards in my hand, and he had Solemn, so I probably could have done a little bit better. I missequenced like a Caius play into a back row. He ended up having Torrential. I figured it wasn't Icarus because he would have probably hit my turtle in my call, but I probably should have just Caius the Whirlwind. I don't know exactly what I was thinking. There's a lot to do when you're on stream. Like, you're sitting there, there's cameras all on you, and you're trying to make sure that you don't look like an idiot on stream, and like you're kind of thinking about a lot of other things and not focusing on the game 100%. Whereas when you're online playing and you're the feature match online, I don't have the stream up when I'm playing online because like I just want to play, and so there's less pressure in that sense. But that was like my first featured match in person since I was like 16 on metagame website, so it was a little bit nerve-wracking. I'll tell you, I was nervous, and the cameras are on your face, and everybody's there to like scrutinize your play, of course, so just a little bit more pressure on the line. But of course I got to get through those pressure situations to finally win one of these events. So round 4, I played against a zombie player. I believe he was on Ultimate Offerings. Game 1, he actually ripped like he hit me with Spirit Reaper early, and I was like, oh, this is not going well at all. Somehow or another, I ended up like winning the game in typical fashion, where I just play really slow and gather advantage. And I don't entirely remember how it happened, but I ended up winning game 1. Game 2, he had I'm pretty certain he had a lethal line, but he might have missed it. And I remember very clearly I dropped Gores, and I have like a 2100 Gores token from a Dark End Dragon that had used its effect already. And he had 1 back row, and he ended on like a board of like Hades, Stardust, a Pyramid Turtle in attack position, and something else. And he was at like 1800. So what I did was I actually had Gale in my hand. I summoned Gale, and I cut the Pyramid Turtle in half, and then just crashed over the turtle with the token for game. And the back row just wasn't real. So I'm pretty sure that he could have beaten me there. We probably should have had a game 3, but sometimes it'd be that way. So that was round 4. Round 5, I played zombies again. I'm trying to recall this match. I think this is the match I top decked just to win this game. I lost game 1. Morphing Jaw, he had a tech Morphing Jaw on the deck, and he caught me with it. And so he wins game 1 because you just gain so much advantage from that card if it works. And game 2, he actually has another like game shot there with a return play, and he knows every card I have because he just dust shot me. And for some reason, he ends on just Brio and Stardust, and I have a lone Mirror Force in my hand, and he's at like 2,000, and I'm at like, I don't know, 1,000 or something. It's irrelevant. I'm dead next turn if I don't draw something, and I literally top deck Brain Control for game. So I just Brain Control the Brio, pitch the Mirror Force in my hand, and then just attack directly. So that was probably the luckiest draw of the day for me. And then I got a game 3, so once that happens, it can go either way, and I was fortunate enough. I think he kind of drew dead, and I just capitalized on it. So that was round 5. Round 6, I played zombies again. So this was he was on like 2 Zombie Master. I believe he was on Illblood. I'm not sure if he was on Ultimate Offering. I don't think so. But he had like, I know game 1 we gone back and forth, and I just outgrinded him. And game 2, I think he drew pretty poorly. He drew pretty poorly. Sorry. He karma cut me at one point, which was kind of cool tech. He hit I believe it was a Goblin Zombie, but I think I ended up winning with Return because that card's just the best card in the deck on any given day. So I ended up finishing 5-1 with my one loss being, of course, the feature match where I don't play well. And then I get into top cut, and my opponent is a Blackwing player again. So I just been having some difficulties with Blackwing, probably not approaching the matchup appropriately. There was a streak where I just wasn't losing to it, and now I'm kind of like, I think I'm overplaying the Icarus attack situation. I'm just not sure. And game 1, I am in a position where I either like set a bunch of back row and risk like getting beat down and not be able to drop Gores, or I pass with an open field, hoping that he doesn't have Dark Arm, so I can like drop Gores if he attacks me with anything, and he just like draws and slams Dark Arm, so I lose. Game 2, I literally won with a Gale, and I played Protect the Gale with Bottomless and Deep Prisons the whole game, and I think I attacked like 6 times with Gale. And then game 3, we kind of went back and forth, and I lost again to a Dark Arm. He played well. I was playing around Icarus attack the whole like time, but the reality was we saw his deck online after Keegan had posted it, and on E3 YouTube channel, and there was no Icarus in the main deck at all. So that just goes to show you, like, sometimes playing around all these cards is like you do it to a fault almost. Like, you're playing around Icarus attack so much that it ends up costing you the game. And I find that that's what's happening with me now. Like, I'm playing very, very conservative, setting this, not playing a card when I should, and I'm just losing because of that. So it's something I need to really adjust going down the line here, because Black Wings is so popular. I need to really try to increase my win percentage from a 50%, because that's essentially what the matchup is right now. It's like I lost both Blackwing matches game 3s, so it can go either way. But to really be able to win a tournament, you need to be able to get a little bit higher win percentage against that deck, since it's one of the best decks of the format. How are we going to do it? I don't know. Maybe just tweak the way I'm playing against it. But this is the list I decided to use. I'll talk a little bit about it. So the 19 monsters are pretty much standard zombies. Like, you have to play some ratio of this here. I think this is probably what I would stick with. Some of the other decks that I've topped with have Illblood Necrogarner in here, so it'd be 21. I think Deck Devastators, when I made the top 12 cut of that, I had just Illblood, which was a 20th card. I like this monster lineup here. I think I probably wouldn't change this. If anything, I noticed on Sunday where I went to a PS5 tournament, and big thing I noticed is that the zombie deck here, typically, ideally, you want to see one recruiter in opening hand. But if that one recruiter nowadays is just getting destroyed or not getting attacked, like if you watch the feature match there, Daniel, the Blackwing player, he just does not attack this Pyramid Turtle ever. And the problem is there's so many deep prisons running around right now that you can't, like, convert off of it ever. Because if you attack with it and try to ram, they just deprison and get rid of it. And they just not attacking and giving you anything. So now you're, like, making synchro plays with the Pyramid Turtle or the Caius, and it's bad. It's terrible doing that. So players are getting a lot smarter here playing against the zombie deck. Even though they're aggressive deck, they're just not. If they see a Pyramid Turtle, they're just not giving it to you. Hero Beat's another thing. Like, you might get them to attack the first face down monster, but the second they see a Mystic Tomato or a Pyramid Turtle on the board, they're just waiting and then Gemini sparking it. So, and it's very hard for you to get the engine going, which is some of the reason why Ultimate Offering might be a card to consider in the future, because you can kind of just turn things on yourself. You don't need your opponent to do it at all. In this deck here, you're really just waiting for them to, like, okay, I'll just sit behind a Pyramid Turtle, but if you're sitting behind Pyramid Turtle, they're just waiting for a Gemini Spark. So, then it becomes this kind of standoff, like, who's going to make the first move? And you're the combo-oriented deck. They're really not. So, that's kind of my 2 cents on the monster lineup. The spell lineup, I think, is fine. I did not miss Foolish. Off the top of my head, I didn't miss Foolish. I didn't really pay attention to what card was Foolish, if it was better in my hand or not at that time. I think you could play Foolish or not play Foolish. I don't think it's, like, the end of the world. Burial, I would not play at this point. I just feel like it's too bricky at times. It's kind of like a win more card. It feels so good when it works, but early game with the aggressiveness of, like, Black Wings and Gemini and the hero deck, you're sitting there looking at a dead Burial. I just don't feel like it's worth it most of the time. The trap lineup is really the thing that I changed a lot this weekend. I felt that Triple D Prison was a must. I went to YCS Philly and pretty much I posted the deck list on here, the Raikoko 7 zombie build with the Raikos and the hamsters, and it played Triple D Prison. The D Prison felt the best. That was the best part of the whole deck. The Raiko package was just not good. I was lucky enough to win a lad mat there, but I don't think the deck was that great, which is why I didn't play it this weekend. But I definitely wanted to play the Triple D Prison. This card is everywhere right now. It's a problem, because if you play any type of recruiter deck, you just can't attack. Even in the zombie mirror match now, because I think this deck is this card is almost a staple, that they're going to be in every zombie deck, and at least 2, maybe 3. So it's kind of like, I used to make I say to people, I used to make a living just attacking with Mystic Tomatoes and Goblin Zombies for like 5 or 6 turns and not commit anything else to the board and just make my opponent deal with it. But now it's very easy to deal with. You just attack and boom, there goes a deep prison, and now you don't have a starter. So, and that's why Trap Dust Shoot's so broken sometimes, because I lost a bunch of games to turn 1 Dust Shoot because I see the one recruiter in my hand and they just Dust Shoot it back, and now you're waiting to draw a recruiter again. And at that point, you're already behind on tempo. So it's just... going first with this deck is needed. Like, when you go first, you probably just win because of the fact that you get the recruiter play, unless something happens. But going second and playing from behind and then a Dust Shoot on top of it, forget about it. So this here is the new tech here, Legacy of Yatagarasu. We play 3 of them. The reason why I decided to play 3 this weekend, and which is different from any other list I've ever played before, I just put 3 in, because this is like a flex spot. So sometimes when you're looking at your deck, you have to make like the tough decision of what you want to cut for a specific tournament, and you're like, oh, there's no way I could ever cut Foolish Burial for a Legacy of Yatagarasu. So I kind of just ripped the band-aid off and just put 3 of them in. And the reason why I feel these cards are actually good, even though they just say literally draw 1 card, aside from special scenario where there's a spirit monster on the field, which is like probably only ever going to happen with a Dark Dust Spirit. But because this card here lets you play in a way where your opponent believes you have something all the time. So and you also become more insulated against like Heavy Storm. So you can play the set 2 back row turn 1 game and never worry about Heavy Storm. So you can go Deprison Yata in set 2, and your opponent's like, oh my goodness, I have to deal with 2 back row. Now it makes the MST a 50-50 already, and Heavy is just a 1-for-1. This card here is really good too because of the fact that people just will blind MST. It didn't happen so much in South Cal because those guys know how to play, but their player base is extremely good there. They're on par with a lot of the online players, I'll tell you that. But I did have like the Gladiator Police player like Bestiary into a Legacy of Yatagarasu. I draw a card. So this card here punishes players who are just going to randomly blind MST or Dust Tornado. It also helps against, and this is the real reason why I played it, because I knew that the meta game in South Cal was Blackwing and Hero Beat. We heard that. We were at the tournament scene on Friday, and pretty much everyone was talking about it. So this here makes the Gemini Spark play less devastating because a lot of the time they might just go like Spark, hit a back row, and then you just chain. Same thing with Icarus attack. If they blow you up with an Icarus attack, you can just chain. So I think this card just it's hard to explain why the card's good, but if you play it, you'll see that it opens up a lot of like different avenues, and you can just like if someone MSTs this and I get a +1, that's no different than me hitting with a Spirit Reaper. Like I'm probably gonna win the game just because of that. I don't know. It's like really hard to explain why the card feels good, but I love the card all weekend, and it's easy to side deck out. So because now it's like you have 3 flex spots right for your sideboard, so you have 3 cards that you can take out if you want. If the card just doesn't feel that great in the matchup, if the opponent's really not giving you any MSTs, or if they're playing well, you can easily side deck these cards out games 2 and 3. So like if I'm going second games 2, I can I can just swap out 3 Legacy and maybe a Dust Shoot depending on the matchup. You don't always take this out, and then you can put in some number of Dust Tornado, Compulse, which was very good this weekend, Starlight Road. So that's just the Yata there. It's literally like you're playing a 37 card deck. It is a little bit slower than Upstart, but you don't give them 1,000 life points. I think it's better than Upstart because of the fact that you can make this card right here can be anything in the back row, and your opponent does not know that. It can be a Mirror Force. It could be a Torrential. They just don't know. And also, this card could also be a Dark Arm Dragon if it's set, because you need to draw 1 card and boom, you draw a Dark Arm, right? So this card can essentially be anything at any given time. So I don't know. On Sunday, I kind of cut some of this around. I went, because of how heavy the Blackwing Hero Beat meta was, we tweaked this up a little bit more, and I think I cut like maybe 1 or 2 Yatas for Dust Tornadoes. I don't remember the exact swap, but I actually like the Legacy build better, but that was just more of my matchups on Sunday. But the side deck here is pretty standard, I think. Double Cyber Dragon is better against like everything other than Machina because they know that's coming in, but obviously it can work against machines. It's just really good against the Gladiator Beast. I actually put this in against Blackwings too, and I know, well, they play Royal Oppression, but if they don't have Royal Oppression, this card's kind of difficult for them to deal with. They have to have a Collude just to get over it. It's one of those cards that hit or miss. Like if they flip a Royal Oppression, you're gonna wish you didn't have it in there. But also another reason why I put this in is because I know deck devies are going in. So this insulates me a little bit more against deck devastation because I can take out some number of, maybe a Recruiter or 2 and put in the Cyber Dragons. And at least if I get hit with an early deck dev, I just don't, or maybe I don't just get blown out. DD Crow is okay. I was putting this in against the zombie matchups. Nobleman was great actually this week, and I know that's crazy to believe because of how much Blackwing and Hero Beat there were, but I played against 2 Blackwing on at the RBET, and I lost to both of them, of course, but I played 3 zombies. So this card here is tricky though, because you can get a free like Nobleman game 2, but then you have to decide what you want to do game 3, because if your opponent knows that you got Nobleman in there, they're not going to ever set a turtle or tomato or any of that. So you got to kind of play like the mind game, like am I going to keep the Nobleman in or am I going to take it out? So game 3s, I often would take the Nobleman out And so this card kind of like would steal me a game too. So if I won game one, I would probably just win game two because I could hit something early with a nobleman. But if I was down game one a lot of the time, and this would kind of help me win game two, and then I would just side it out. So I like the nobleman. I think that they probably need to be in the sideboard just because, like, if you play Vayu, that deck can be difficult to beat. Quick Draw is another deck. And like I said, I did put this in against the Dragon player, but I'm not sure if they are supposed to set a bunch of cards like that. I don't really know how the deck plays, but I felt that this card was good. The Smashing Ground I put in against Gladiator Beast worked okay. It's really just there for generic removal. It's good against Absolute Zero. If you don't really have anything on the board, you can just out it. Christia, of course, you need to have some type of out to that. Just one for one. There's nothing amazing to about it, but just another card that you can kind of put in depending on the matchup. Double Compulse. This card was amazing this weekend. It won me a few games that I can recall. It's good against the Hero Beat deck, and it's not. And the reason why is because, the Diva Hero Beat, because they make Absolute Zero so frequently that you can just, if you have just a Goblin on the field, you can just compulse it. You don't really care. So it's just an easy way to out the card without having to spend a million resources. It's really good against the Vayu deck. It's one of the reasons why it's in the sideboard. It's not particularly good against pure Blackwing, but it could be sided in against the hybrid because they do make more synchros there. It's very good against zombies. Against zombies, I was putting in double Crow, double Nobleman, double Compulse. I do think I sided this in against the hybrid player I played on stream. I think I hit like a Brio with it, but I think this card is good. The problem is I don't think you can main it because of the fact that it's not good all the time. Like against the Dragon deck, it's like, it doesn't work all that great. I did side it in just because I felt like some of this other stuff was just not needed at all. So I'd rather have at least some piece of removal than have like a legacy against that deck. Dust Tornadoes, I put 3 in often. I played, like I said, Gladiator Beast, played 2 Blackwing decks. I don't know if you necessarily need 3. I kind of go back and forth on this card. Skill Drain was the worst card on my sideboard because I didn't put it in at all. It's probably just there for frogs. And I didn't even put it in against a Gladiator Beast player, even though this card can work against them because of the fact that they can just book the geysers and still blow up the skill drain. So you have it can work against Gladiator Beast. It can be like a shutdown card, but if they know how to play and they can like, kind of just chain a Book of Moon at the right time, it can destroy it. Starlight Road went in against the Blackwing players, but top 8 player did not have Icarus Attack at all, so this card was pretty much dead, and I didn't know it. So that Blackwing deck without Icarus Attack might be something to keep an eye on because of the fact that it threatens Icarus Attack without ever having to play it. And the reason why Icarus Attack, it's great game 1, but game 2 and 3, like, Starlight Roads are coming in, so maybe there's some number of just siding them out. Again, I don't really play the deck, but extra deck was, I didn't really need anything else here. There's a couple of times you kind of wish you had an android, but I feel like Armoriom is necessary because you can Colossal Armoriom against the Frog decks if you can mind control one of their, or bring control of their dupes or whatever. So this is pretty much the deck, and I just want to do a quick recap here. I don't know. I have my Rulers invite now. I'm not sure how many of these tournaments I'll be able to play in the future just because of life and whatnot now that I have an invite, but I do plan to play in whatever I can, of course. If you have any questions about the deck, you can message me on Discord, and we are climbing towards 1,000 subs. We're close to 800 now, so Edison War League is up and running. We will be doing some more BCS tournaments in the future. Just got to kind of plan them around other tournaments. Again, those are just kind of small Friday or Saturday night tournaments, 16, 32 players, whatever we can get, and we kind of just roll them out for fun. So if you would, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.